Welcome back to the World Curling Federation's Olympic Qualification event 2017. We're in Pilsen, in the west of the Czech Republic. Not only will you find a beautiful and picturesque old town here, but go explore and you'll find a stunning landscape, as well as our epicenter of curling, the Koszutka Arena. Wake up and brew some coffee, curling fans. It's time for the business end of the competition. We'll bring you live coverage of the playoff game 1 versus 2 in the men's competition. Denmark will take on Italy in what is a first chance for both teams to qualify for the Olympic Games in Pyeongchang. My name is Sander Ulvåg and I'm joined by Olympic champion Rona Howie. Good morning.
Good morning, Sander.
Let's meet the teams. For Denmark, at lead, Oliver Dupont. At second, Mikkel Pilsen. Third, the veteran, is Johnny Fredriksson. And of course the animated skip, Rasmus Stjernen. For Team Italy this morning, at lead, Daniele Ferrazza. Throwing the second stones, Simone Gonin. Joel Returnaz will be playing third for Italy, and throwing the fourth rocks is Amos Mozaner. So that's the teams introduced. Well, they played each other just yesterday, and it was Denmark to come out with the win. As you take a look at the standings, Denmark 2 wins ahead of everyone at 6-1. So they will have hammer in the first end here, and whoever loses this game will get a second chance and play Czech Republic. Well, it's all a polite start here, as you see how this works out. Winner goes to the Olympics, loser gets a second chance to play Czech Republic. But surely it would be quite sweet to be able to win right here and secure a place in the Olympics already this morning, Rona.
Definitely would. It doesn't matter what's happened throughout this week. You know, Denmark have only lost one game, but this is a final, if you like. You've got to treat it as a final. One game to win and you get to the Olympics.
Well, scored a big 4 in the 8th end to kill the game versus Italy yesterday. It was a pretty well played game by both teams.
Some hard hand slapping there. Sounds quite painful.
Just to get the energy going. And it will be quite a quiet arena. Only the one game out there. Only other team out in the ice would be the Czech Republic, as they have a practice session while this is ongoing. See the stone colors. Denmark will throw the red stones. Italy throws the yellow. So it is lead for Italy. Daniele Ferrazza to throw the first one. 24 years of age. Already a big chance to make it to the Olympic Games.
Warning. Warning, plads. Warning. Plads. Din retning, dreng. Masser af plads. Warning. Warning. Køler ikke så meget. Warning.
Oliver Dupont just drawing out to the wing.
Yeah, so a bit of a defensive start for Denmark.
Yeah, maybe just settling a few nerves at the first end. Although, a very experienced team, I don't think they'll worry too much about nerves.
Perhaps will just play the open hit. As you see, one of the smallest and one of the biggest players in the competition sweeping alongside. Not the most symmetrical team out there, Italy. But they sure been playing well, and perhaps a bit of an underdog when they came into the week. Very open field. A lot of good teams. I think the biggest favourite coming into the competition was perhaps China, but they lost their chance to make it to the playoffs in the final session in the round robin, losing to Russia.
So you can see there that Oliver DuPont's second stone was good weight, but ran out of ice at curl so much. So it gives Italy the opportunity to come round to centre guard.
So Simone going in will have a free draw around the guard.
And both the Italian and the Danish ladies teams were playing here this week, but they won't even be in to support the men this morning because they're playing later on today for that second ladies Olympic spot.
Here's Mikkel Pilsen, second for Denmark. Just going to sneak past the guard here.
Great shot.
Mikkel Pilsen on the team. Rasmus Stjerna kind of broke onto the scene. The silver medal at the European Championships back in 2010 in Champéry, Switzerland. As we take a look at some of the rules of play here, 8 ends minimum now as we're in the playoffs. Although the game is scheduled for 10, teams will have 38 minutes of thinking time and 1 60-second timeout. So lots of time to play curling. But of course, in a game like this, time can always be an issue.
Yeah, it can, because I think as the game progresses, we're going to see a lot of stones in play, and teams just need to manage their time early on to give themselves sufficient time come the business end of the game.
Well, they are getting a chance to bank some clock here. Pretty open end. Only that one long centre guard in place, so Italy will be hoping to make it the rule in behind cover. Perhaps force Denmark to score just the 1 point. As we see Joel Retournaz.
Clean.
Yeah, well, the 34-year-old, he's been at the Olympics before. Of course, skipping Team Italy at home in Turin in 2006. You might say the face of Italian curling for a long time. Now with a completely new team, 3 young guys, a chance to make it back. The most experienced player out there this morning, Johnny Fredriksson, age 42. You might call him the voice of reason on the Danish team.
It's always good to have that sensible, reasonable person in a team holding it together.
Well, Denmark made it I believe, to the playoffs of the European Championships 3 years in a row. And the year Johnny Fredriksson took a leave of absence, if you will, he actually were relegated to the B group, and that might just be a sign of how much Johnny Fredriksson can mean to this team. And I believe Joel Retronaz and Johnny Fredriksson have quite the similar roles in the teams here.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to have that experienced head in the team, keeping things sane when the going gets tough.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Two-time Olympian already, Fredriksson, playing back in 2010 and 2014.
Put him inside.
And here's the young fourth player for Italy, Amos Mosaner.
Out.
He's just going to roll out here, so it'll be up to Denmark. If they want to try and score their 2 here, or stick to the game plan. Maybe just blank the end, looking at Peel on the guard here. Well, he drew the open wing on the first one, so you felt like maybe that was the plan all along. Blank the end, and I don't mind seeing them stick to the game plan. So often you see teams a little bit inconsistent with what they want to achieve in an end.
Yeah, absolutely. They're on there with a focus, and they want to stick to it.
So Rasmus Stjernet, skip of Team Denmark, will peel this card and try and make sure that they can blank this end and retain the advantage of last stone.
And with these two teams playing each other last in the round robin, you know, they're both very aware of how each other's played yesterday, so I'm sure both teams have come in with a very clear game plan.
Easy.
A lot at stake for both these teams.
Freeze non è male. Linea non è male. Freeze.
Mosaner, a youth Olympian, played the Youth Olympics back in 2012 in Innsbruck, Austria. Finished second, but now with a chance to take that big step up to the big games. Tried to freeze that red stone and make it a little bit harder for Rasmus Stjernet to blank here. We'll have to come wide here, so might catch some fresh pebble. We can throw it hard enough. Last stone, first end. Is this curling too much? I think it is. And he will actually hit and stick around here. So, bit of an early mistake. Looking for the blank, but ends up scoring 1. Italy will be the happier side here. After one end of play in the 1-2 game, it's 1-0 for Denmark.
go. Warning. No. 189.
So it's Denmark to throw the first stone here in the second end, not quite what they were planning on. You hate to play for a blank, get the chance, and then nose hit on your blank attempt, but we see it happen quite often.
Yeah, we do. Because, you know, Rasmus could have drawn round the guard with his first stone and put pressure on Italy and maybe got it too. So, yeah, his game plan was to blank, so now game plan changes slightly. Italy now have the hammer, so they'll try and put up their corner guards. They want to score 2 here.
Altra da 15 la sua.
Oliver Dupont could be one of 3 Duponts to feature in the Olympics. Of course, he has 2 sisters playing later today.
Yeah, so if they qualified here, would that give his sisters extra motivation to play their game later on? If the brother's there, they need to keep up with him.
I'm sure it'll be an inspiration.
5-3.
3,90 io direi. Sì, 3,80.
So 2 good stones there from Oliver Dupont.
Backline.
Linea buona.
Staffa. Staffa.
Buon back.
Staffa.
Back.
Staffa.
So just playing a tap back weight here. Just to try and tap it back and roll behind the corner. That's a really good shot. He's more concerned about where his shooter was going, wanted it behind cover. So really good shot there from Faraza. Well, was going for the raise, but as long as he was taking the guard off, so goes over and punts his other red into the rings. But advantage for Italy, because it has left another corner guard and 1 back tee, so they can freeze that.
Going in, starting off as an alternate for this team. He came on to play in the Europeans only a couple of weeks ago. He's done really well and he's kept his spot in the team starting lineup. Urging his sweepers here to drag it into the 8th foot. Himself a mixed doubles player as well. Tried to qualify Italy for the mixed doubles event. She'll also feature at the Olympic Games. And I think a common trait you'll find amongst mixed doubles players, they're usually quite good at drawing.
Yeah, absolutely. Different style of play.
Michael Pilsen is able to just sneak past the guard in the first end.
Just passes.
And will roll to where? Frozen on that yellow. That's a great shot by Pilsen.
Fantastic.
A couple of pistols from him early.
Just scrapes past the top guard. Puts the yellow between the reds and boom. And that's where with Italy's last stone they really wanted it up frozen on the back one. So Denmark couldn't hit it.
Linea buona.
Oh, new chance for going in.
4-2.
Come prima secondo me.
4-2.
Spazio.
Gunnar.
Spazio.
Buono T-line, T-line.
No, no, aspetta allora.
T-line.
T-line sotto.
4-2. 5-1
Just
T-line.
waiting for this one to start curling.
Tira qua, Tira che le buone adesso. Vai. Vai,
To
Ramos.
bring it right back.
Tira giù, tira giù.
Go, go, go. Go, 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 go. Ok. Va bene lì.
So not completely hidden. Allow Denmark to remove it from play.
Kan. Ja. Okay, fahren. 12. Ja. Nå så hernede.
Here's the coach for Denmark, Mikael Kvist.
He's very happy looking this morning.
Himself also representing Denmark in the World Mixed Doubles Championship. He's a restaurant manager, so I'm sure he's able to manage 5 guys for a week.
Not manage their food. Trying to get this past the guard. Ah, great shot.
And of course, Søren Gran, Swedish coach, but now in charge of the Italian teams. He's head coach for both men's and women's teams, and well, they both have a chance to make it to the Olympic Games. Just saw Diana Gaspari lose out to China yesterday, but we'll have a new chance against Denmark this afternoon.
Spazio.
Back!
Spazio.
Back!
Okay.
Back!
Yep. Whoa, whoa.
Back!
Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Yep.
So Italy just trying to follow that Danish stone down.
Whoa. Whoa, mama. Hi, mama. Whoa, whoa.
So there's a bigger nest there at the back now that Denmark need to try and avoid jamming onto.
Runden er svær at komme ned under igen, Johnny. Ja. Prøv bare, vi skal af den vej. Ja. Ja. Spørgsmålet var, at vi bare skulle spille dobbelt. Den er ikke tosset. Ja.
So he wants to hit this yellow thinner to go through the gap and the red in the left there. And his shooter could roll over to his other red and bounce a yellow.
Det er faktisk bare et peel, Johnny. Ja. Et peel, for vi kommer ikke til at holde shooteren. Nej, okay. Jeg stadig bare 10. Ja, bare 10, jeg synes ikke, vi skal op i en monster. Nej.
Just the last comment there from Rasmus Stjerne saying, better off just catching this thin. It'll be tough to keep the shooter anyway. Right, he's going to come close to doing that. Pretty good shot there, removes the yellow. Keeps the shooter in play, but
Also split one of the back reds out, so it opens it up.
yeah. Actually, pretty good result there for Fredriksson. Less of a nest in the back.
Quelli il tenso giallo.
Ma più o meno stiamo a 4-2.
Saranno noi un po' di indagini.
Lui riesce bene.
Non è male qua. Fris qua non è male.
Men hvis der er nok til det, så er det også været fint. Så længe den laver ikke.
Ja, det der. Jeg scorede sådan højt nok så over den der. Jeg kan ikke engang se, at jeg ramte den der.
Quanto 2, 4-3?
Det gør? Ja, og det gjorde den nemlig. Jeg havde så lidt ekstra is, fordi at...
Jeg tror, den var lidt... I forhold til den sidste, den satte rigtigt.
Så er det mere hårdt.
Linea buona!
Linea!
2004 World Junior Curling Championship Sportsmanship Award winner. One of the nicest guys in curling, Joel Retornaz.
So he's trying to get it past this guard. Oh, just tickles off it.
Altså, vi har langt meget inderside, hvis det er. Det kan ikke ja.
But again, Denmark have to be quite careful. Can't afford to jam it on any of the backing.
Jeg vil gerne have den hen over den der. Vi ligger 2 lige nu.
Ja. Det er ikke tårt. Rulle der. Den der kan jeg ikke. 11. Vil du hellere ind under den?
Nej, du har ret. Hvis du sætter dig der, så kommer han bare med den bagerste her.
Fuldstændig, det tager vi ikke særlig meget at pile med eller noget.
Så jeg vil hellere give ham den her.
Ja, så gå efter og
eller
tage den ud.
alternativ den.
Bare må rulle den, de snakkede.
Derovre?
Okay, bare må rulle 2 sten. Okay.
Ja, fordi hvis han får fryser dernede, ikke? Så...
Ja, så hvis vi lægger en guard med op, og han så kommer rundt på den.
Ja, ja. 10 ligesom Johnny.
11.
Suzanne, the big question. Why does Rasmus whistle?
Well, I think that's just... It's quite easy to hear, isn't it? High-pitched
Save
sound.
his voice, or is it just for the sweepers to hear clearly?
I think it's just sending quite a clear message, especially when there's 3 or 4 other games in the same arena. Sometimes hard to hear. Of course, good save on your voice as well. I know I've lost my voice once playing competition. Couldn't speak for days. Else hitting stick here in the top 8.
Yeah, that's good because it's harder for Italy to draw around that corner guard now.
There you have it.
You'll have to master that though, because sometimes you could go to whistle and it doesn't actually work. And then you'd end up shouting anyway. So is whistle to start or to stop sweeping?
I think it's usually to stop, yeah.
Cinque, 5-1, 5-2, siamo...
So, Mozaner coming around that stone just thrown by Sterna. Sterna really dig in here, but sweepers not really wanting to sweep for weight. Will pass the red, but how far will it go? Too far to the back 12. So, chance here for Denmark to put some pressure on Italy.
Du kan godt sætte den der op og sidde med 5, men jeg...
Almost looks a bit shell-shocked by that it went so far back.
Looking at a couple of options here. For a second he was thinking about just making a play on the 2 stones on the wing and try and sit 5. Just put the pressure on Italy that way, just by sitting a bundle. I thought he might consider just coming a half around that stone himself, but in the end it's just a bit of a bump and a split here they're trying to do.
Yeah, he wants to try and leave the hardest draw possible for Italy. But as you say, you could hit the line 5 and make him draw, but he would only have to be in the 8 foot, so...
Just one little touch and roll here.
Lovely shot.
Well, it's about what he was hoping for, but you know, still leaves quite a lot of room for Italy to draw in there.
I have to bite the 4 foot this time.
Just played this draw as well. Mozaner.
So Denmark will be happy. They're forcing the 1 here after their slight error at the first end, trying to blank.
Of course, this one needs to be made still. Mozaner, but it should be pretty close with it. Through same draw here with this first one. Just needs to take off a couple of feet of weight, bring the sweepers into play. Starting to dig early here, starting to curl, needs to pass the stone. Top 12. Returnaz out to help. And they will drag it past, just barely. And ironically, that was the draw he wanted on his first one, but quite happy to have made it on the second go. So a single for Italy. As you just see sweepers here working it really hard and just squeaking past that stone in the top 12. So after 2 ends of play here, it is all tied at 1.
La prima più fatica io che ho toccato. No, la seconda era la prima non era male. La seconda l'hai finita. Sì, perché
Never before in the history of the World Men's Curling Championship has the stage been so spectacular and the backdrop so electric. A never-before opportunity to watch the best of the best on ice and soak up everything else you love about Las Vegas, including the first ever 9-day pool party. Reserve your place in history now at LasVegasCurling.rocks. Las Vegas 2018. Your curling oasis awaits.
1 vai, 2, 1, 2. Linea buona. 1, 2. 1, 2. Va che in giù tanto. 1. 1. Forse 1.
Oh. Big mistake from Perazza. Not able to bring that stone over the hog line. Not sure what happened there.
Go.
1 ing.
2, 3.
1 ing, 2. 1 ing.
So Denmark with a chance to throw the corner guard here.
Yes, Johnny said, switch in. Johnny. Yep. Bare træk lidt derude. 3. Kom forretning. Træk lidt. Forretning, yep. Forretning. 3. Der kørte du det der? Den køler 2 sten mindre end din anden sten. Den køler ikke så meget. Den er dietro diretto.
See Danish guys talking about that rock all over just through it. Thinking it might be curling a bit less than the other ones.
Sì, 4-2 non è male.
Had a hard time coming off the line there, so maybe a tad straighter of a rock. I mean, the stones are they're quite uniform, but there's always a slight difference in them. Who's to find out that for the team, Rona? I mean, who's in charge of trying to figure out what the stones are like?
Usually the 5th player, alternate player, has the evening practice with the coach, and they'll try and match the sets of stones. Obviously the stones are numbered 1 to 8, but very rarely do they throw them 1 straight through to 8. You maybe find like 5 and 8 are a better matching pair, so you want to have the best pair for the skip really to play. It's usually the lead that has to deal with the difficult pairings, but as you say, they're pretty uniform, they're not far off. These stones are very good, but you will find small differences. Oliver Dupon's played a lovely draw round here. Great shot. So every night of the competition, the 5th player and the coach can come down and match their stones for the next day.
Sì, Danda, sì che non la finirà un cazzo, bomba. 4-2. Linea buona. Non vedo nel maraccio. Linea. 4-2. 4-2.
Just trying to follow this stone in and half check it, always past. Very good effort. Just over curled a wee bit. He wanted to check it more rather than on the nose, but it's in there. Didn't pass the guard by much at all. keeping it really hard. Just sits in the nose.
Seks, 7.
Wow, 5.
Syv.
Nej, ingenting. Kun 5. Sæt, gør de. 6. Sæt,
Kun
5.
fem.
Hjem. Kom ind. 5. Hjem. Retning hjem. Hjem. Høj. Kun 5. Retning.
So Denmark just trying to check on the side of that. Lovely shot. Just tapped it enough. He didn't want to tap out into the open in case it left a double on the reds. So looking for the straight run back here. Try and open things up.
Oh, mine. Ocho. Hit. Whoa, whoa. No. Okay.
Just splits it off, doesn't manage to run it back.
Torin kan godt lide garden. Ja. Okay. Vi sidder godt og kun en. Ja, det er okay. Ja. 2.
Denmark quite happy to just replace the guard. So you see, not taking too much ice for this throw. I think, if anything, you've seen maybe the stones curling a bit less when crossing centre. Just hangs on the centre line for a little bit. We'll talk about Oliver Stone being all straight as well, so we'll see if this one curls a bit more on them.
Yeah, that's pretty good there. Yeah, it seems to be a channel in that centre line. If the stone starts there, it takes a long time to come to start taking the draw.
La vedi smezza?
Sì, la vedo 3/4.
3/4 gas perché c'è palla gialla. E questa in teoria la fa spin out. Questa la doveva venire qua.
Cioè, di ciaparla gialla che la ciaparla rossa poi sopra?
Sì. Sta per sfinire la salda. La rossa la va su. Non so questa andare che la vede. Non mi la resta di venire qui però.
Con lei stessa. Al limite cavo la guardia se proprio.
Hey! Whoa, whoa! Yep! Yep! Hey! Hey!
Pass close to the guard. Oh, just nicks it. But he'll be happy with that. At least it's opened it up. He knew he couldn't afford to be on the wide side.
Hey! Whoa, whoa! Yep! Yep! Hey! Hey!
Just trying to get it past the guard.
Okay.
He couldn't be on the high side there because he would have jammed the red onto the yellow, so he did err on the correct side.
Yeah, now Denmark changing the call here. Make a play on the red stone and try and sit 3. Red onto yellow. Probably try and spin the shooter away, get some separation. Just waiting for this one to curl enough here. Does make that red-yellow combo, but will the shooter stick around? Yes, it will. I think just for 3. Pretty good shot there by Jørgen Fredriksen. If that shooter is out counting nails, his left is red's pretty much frozen as well.
Normale?
Sì, no, ma da far la doppia, no, che?
Yeah, the third shot's quite close as to whether it's red or yellow.
Quart, però fatti che la resta qui. Piena non è male.
Just makes it impossible for Italy to play the double and keep the shooter in play. Might even be slightly afraid that it might drag onto the back yellow if you catch it too much on the high side here. So I think they're just going to play just a nose hit here and try and sit frozen. And the back red should be able to spin out of the house, might take off the back yellow, but this shouldn't be a problem for Italy. Just over curling here. Avoids the jam. Rolls in the open.
Well,
he was only one of 3 teams that was able to beat Brad Gushu at home in 06. Gushu went on to win the gold medal, but became a bit of a hero. Won that game the X round.
Denmark just wanted to hit this one on the nose. Because those reds are fairly square, so not easy to lift a double. But he could take this one and the back one now, if they think that is the third shot.
It's tough to not leave a double when there's no guards. And you certainly don't want to leave too many doubles or triples for this guy, because he can throw it so hard. I mean, he's almost at the hog line when he comes out the hack. So tall, and just a great thrust coming out, but this is more of a controlled one. Trying to bring the sweepers on and catch it just right for the double, but just will jam it and rolls the shooter a bit too far. So Denmark still lying 2 here.
No, not happy with that result. So red onto red, jams it, and his shooter rolls away. Great opportunity now with last stone advantage here for Denmark. Green lights are on, so let it go before the hog line. Sweeper's working this hard. Has to be fully in. You want it back at T-line. Didn't get as far back as he wanted, but does lie 3.
Definitely no easy double left for Italy either.
Sweepers worked that one really hard. Trying to pull it as far as they can.
I wonder if it's the slash they're going to play here. Try and take off the 2 reds on the right hand side of the house. And this one will be flying down the ice.
Yeah, it doesn't hang about.
Trying to catch the back one here. 1. Oh! So close, 2 times in a row for Amos Mozaner. Wow.
Just misses the
He
back.
only needed a tickle with that kind of weight. So draw for 3.
Tænker faktisk indhængtiden er mere varm, Johnny.
Looks to be pretty sure they're lying too, so.
Jeg tænker indhængtiden er mere varm.
Er det ikke der, jeg spiller?
Hvad for noget?
Det er der, jeg har spillet.
Ja, det er også der, der du spillede, og han spillede i første ende.
Here Rasmus just talking about the ice and which way they would like to play the draw. Where they played before. Sometimes you might even just ask your sweepers what they prefer, what they feel they have most control of, and in the end they will play the in turn here, and we'll have the clock running hog to hog. We've been looking at around 14.5 seconds for a draw this week, and it's been very consistent. No sweeping on this one, so maybe running a tad heavy, 13.4, but does he have backing? No.
No.
And how far will this one sail? All the way through. Big let off for Italy. Well, we said 14.5. That was 13.4, just way too heavy from Rasmus Stjerne, and I believe it's a measure being called by Italy just to make sure. Maybe the heart racing all too fast.
Yeah, especially as you said, they had that discussion about the best track to go down, and they did have backing at other parts of the ice, so just was going for the straight draw.
So that's the Italian rock, just a bit of a nudge there. This one will go a little farther, so it is red. So that's 2 points for Denmark. Could have been 3, but they'll take a 2 and they'll be up by 1 after 3 ends of play here in the Kashutka Arena.
Yes.
Nej, det är inte.
Super running.
Det var jeres. Det var jeres.
Holdning af en dreng.
God retning. Plads. Plads. Plads, hvis I har. Stille og roligt. Stille og roligt.
Top med 4. Top med 4. Ja, fin ud for retning.
Ja,
Tiden også for.
god retning.
Godt set med.
Hold Oliver.
Hold Oliver. Nyd.
Well, that's a score. 3-1 for Denmark. A couple of mistakes by Rasmus Stjerne in that first end. Was looking for the blank, ended up nosing, hanging around for the single. Had a draw for 3 in the third end, and pumped it through the house, so only 2. And now Ferrazza hoping that this corner guard will stop in time, but no, just well. There's always a bit of a scare as a lead. Throw a corner guard and you see the sweepers backing right off it. You know if that stone slips into the rings and Denmark plays the hit, the end is essentially over unless you want to take a big risk and throw another one.
Køler rigtig meget. Hånd i sem. Anigo, 3.
Tæt 4.
Anigo.
Hastig.
Fik det der 3. Fik det der 3.
Hastig.
Tæt 4.
I'm just wondering this close.
Okay, Ollie.
Oh, it just slips in. They won't be bothered though that it's in. They're 2 up.
Yeah, that is the tolerance, I think. When you're up by a couple of points, you try and throw as close to the rings as you can, but if it slips in, it's better than leaving it halfway.
Definitely.
So, Italy
Buono, ci
having a draw here.
4-2, ti là. Linea spazio.
4-2.
Just trying to
Linea tan spazio.
Line.
use these red stones to their advantage.
Lì.
Ti casomai.
No, senza lì.
Trying to lock one on, but
No.
having some curling to do. Weight's pretty good, but
Ok.
just sits a little too high on the corner.
Larga.
Yeah, just allows Denmark now to be able to come off the inside and roll.
Mikkel Pilsen works as a flight mechanic, so you'd think it would be quite meticulous in other aspects of his life, perhaps curling, training,
Great shot.
and this shot in particular.
I wonder when he flies to competitions if he checks out the planes before he gets on them.
Dimmi, Amos. Ci ferro dall'altra, no? Da non mettere le vizzine.
Sì. Lei che così le tirava in via 2 e 3 con il tiro.
Ah, come vuoi, solo doppia e spostarsi da questa, no?
Sì, non è male. Ok. Tutto più.
Yeah, Italy need to really clear up some granite here. They've got last stone. They certainly don't want to lose anything against the head here.
Apertura. Apertura.
Simon. 7% for the tournament.
Tira, tira, tira. Perfetto così, bravo.
Good shot. Takes 2 reds away. Top one and the one off the top of the 4-foot, so good result.
Well, just mentioned how he's been playing mixed doubles, and they're usually pretty good at drawing, but he's been playing 79% for Old Takehouse this week. So 5% better than on his draws. So knows how to throw a hit or two. He's going in. Mikkel Pilsen just maybe rolling a tad too far, opening the pathway to the corner guard.
Velocità di prima, 8 più.
Ok.
Could have just drawn around the corner, but playing the hit and roll, so maybe just keeping the blank alive as well here. And plan B, another option, roll on top of the other red. Not a bad result.
It is, because if Denmark cleared the house here, trying to split these out, the centre guard's open. So, do you say plan B? Oh well, that'll do, he says.
So you could just try and smash this, but I think Denmark would quite like to keep the shooter, preferably in the 4-foot here, not give Italy a free draw around the corner. Can't afford to over curl. That yellow one's just going to stick around. He's just been able to clean pick it with some controlled weight, and even does he keep the shooter just nibbling? No. Just rolls out. And now with only one red stone in play, Italy quite happy to ignore it and just come around the corner this time.
vogliamo arrivare un po' più profondi.
Nascosti, sì. Andiamo.
T-line.
Ci vuole 3-9 per arrivare un po' più oltre il T-line.
Io la gioco per T, poi la tirate voi.
Okay.
Quindi, per T?
Statistically speaking, this is Retronaz's best shot this week. The in-turn draw.
Tieni su.
His higher percentage shot.
Linea buona. Oh, spazio. Spazio. Aspetta. Aspetta. Oh.
Plenty of room at the moment.
5-2.
13,93. Danda.
Troopers were on that early.
Yep. Senza paura, Danda. Hard. Hard. Tira giù, Danda. Tira giù. Tira giù. Tira.
Slipped to the back 12, but fully buried, so pretty good result there for Italy.
Akbar. Alternativ er mit
Gira tanto,
en køler fineren.
I'm just asking Johnny Fredrickson how much he could see from the hack. So just a gentle tap back.
And this is where weight control is so important. Overthrow, this one's not going to curl enough.
This one is certainly curling.
Skal bare se, hvordan I går i ringen. Ja, det er fint.
Pretty good tolerance. Chipping the guard here and rolling in.
No.
These Denmark sitting two.
Questo non conta più dopo. Qua non ti piace?
You wonder if it's spun deep enough to leave a tricky double.
Se roll malamente, che la sono sempre una doppia. Se viene sul ponte, che rischio
Yeah, good jam on that red, but even if they hit that one and roll over on top of the other red a wee bit, might leave an easier double the next time.
Tanto non se ne abbusa, cioè vuol dire.
Però se ne un bel ponte qua, vuol dire, quasi ne assicurano i due. Alla fine contano dopo, quelli lì semmai.
I ritimi non mi piace.
Che vi piace?
A me non dispiace il freeze.
Danda?
Corner.
Va bene. Ok.
Cioè al limite, vuol dire, anche tutte le porzioni che arrivano anche qua, non abbiamo doppio.
Va bene. Freeze dove?
Fin del bianco, sì.
Se fa pieno Elo dopo?
4 secondi.
Deve farlo bene.
Ok, però va bene. Pila che se lo fa pieno sono inculati.
So, just straight freeze here by Italy. Called.
Storti appena appena.
Ok.
4 secondi.
And they're going to try and sit on the corner of the shot stone. And that way, it could be hard for Denmark to remove, as it might just redirect onto the second red.
Tu stai prima?
Sì, ma per vedere forse.
Spazio, spazio, spazio! 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 Spazio!
It is back D, so there's no real risk with this. If you can make it perfectly, put pressure on to Denmark.
Perfetta linea. Hey! Molto buona linea.
And sweep this the whole way and get it frozen right on top. It's looking very good. Ah, great shot.
It's been all a bit inconsistent this week, but good enough to put him in the playoffs. And you'd love to play your best curling right here.
Hvis han ligger nummer 2 her, så får du den ikke bare ud. Jo, hans får den ligger nummer begge to. Kun en. Hvorfor skal du så ikke spille den der af? Du kan altid tage den der ned til sidst. Skal vi ikke få den der af så? Jo, det er der, jeg siger, jeg vil hellere spille 11 eller 12. 11 her.
Kan du godt lide 12? Jeg kan godt lide 12, så den ikke hopper sådan forfærdeligt meget, når du rammer.
Så hvis jeg kan sætte den der.
Ja. 12.
So what's the thinking here, Rona?
Yeah, well, they had a chat about where they want their shooter to be, but it's then they had a chat about the weight. So, ideally, Denmark want to stay on top of that yellow and not spin off it.
And why couldn't you just hammer it down and try and blast it out?
Because you might leave the yellow line shot and your shooter would roll away. So if he plays a slightly more canny way, it's more controllable. And hopefully his shooter stays in the right place.
Big sweep early. Oliver DuPont trying to hold the line here.
Just splits a wee bit. He's unlucky, he's tried to hold it. Swept really hard the whole way. But the red is shot, so Italy will need to move it at some point. But if Italy come down and half check that red, it's going to be difficult for Denmark.
Però lei lo shot adesso noi. Potrebbe essere anche lo shot.
Sì, non è male questa.
Secondo me devi giocarla.
Ok.
Ma che anche se roncasse in questa, ok, va bene. Sì. L'importante è non roncare questa, secondo me.
11?
Sì.
Così.
I think it's possible to punch this red stone through the gap of the L's without picking off the back one.
It's doable, but it's very tight. He wants to keep his shooter here. He could come down and just half check that red and lie second and third there. But he's maybe scared he'll leave a double for Rasmus to then hit.
So just trying to punch this one through and keep the shooter in play. Needing to curl quite a lot here, and whoa, won't even make contact with that red stone, and rolls to the edge of the forefoot. At least enough to sit second. So not quite out of the woods yet, Denmark, but certainly helped a little bit.
He's
not a happy boy.
Problemet er, at den kommer bare ikke rigtig ud. Den løber bare lige derover. Ja, men stopper du ikke ned mod den anden? Jo. Hvis du stopper derovre alligevel, så kommer den ikke til at tælle.
Problemet er, hvis den her forlader ringen, og den her bare stopper under den, så er
en dobbelt til 3. Ja.
Du kan ikke lige der?
Du kan ikke bare lige spille den pil, vel? Jo, men altså...
Hvad er I bange for her?
Hvis du spiller dobbelt en pil...
Ja, han er heller ikke helt skidt. Hvis du sætter den her...
Jeg tror faktisk, jeg er enig med dig heroppe.
Altså, hvis du sætter den her, så får han den der dobbelt stykke perfekt, ikke?
Vi er enige om, at hvis du sætter den sådan her...
Ja, præcis. Så udcounter du den også.
Så spiller han for 2, ikke?
Ja, så spiller han for 2.
Mindre han kan lave den derovre, men altså...
Det er jo stadig til 2, fordi han kan ikke holde shooteren. Læg den der.
Ja, eller... 3, ikke? 3 er jo også gammel.
Ja, jeg 3 også.
Det er altså en perfekt vinkel til det.
Jeg tror altså, Garden er nemmere kalder, end skulle prøve at vippe den ud over.
Definitely a couple of different calls here. I mean, they could try and just pick that Yellowstone clean.
Bare 3, 4.
But if he ever goes past it, picks his own, to open it for 3. If Golva curls and jams it, the 3 could be in play. So Rasmus just playing what he feels is maybe a safer shot here.
Yeah, he could have come up and also just frozen on the yellow and lay 2, but the chance of him leaving a double is pretty high there. So, you know, it's a good call to put up that front ring guard and put the pressure on to Italy.
Just put this top 12 right in front of the shot stone. It'd be hard to score 2 here. Saying if it does over curl, there might be a slash for the 2, but I'd be quite happy to leave that, I think. This one is over curling though. So maybe wanting to bring this in to just nibble the 8 foot and out count the back yellow, but no. Slash is there for 2, but the call very quickly from Ozana is just to play the open hit for the single. Oh, for the 2, pardon.
Yeah, that one really overcurled. His weight was really nice for what he wanted to do there, but it just overcurled on them. As you said, I thought they would have swept it into.
Well, getting a bit carried away myself here. So, in the excitement, so Ozana are just needing to navigate past that stone in the top 12 and sit for 2 here, tie up the game. Just got to keep the shooter in the forefoot. That's good enough. 2 for Italy.
He's still shaking his head.
Still upset with the first one, but got to be happy with that second. It's tied after 4.
Per fortuna se no roncare sulla guardia.
Sta zitto.
No. 11:30 questa.
Sì, però.
Sì.
Og så skal han ind og spille på de der, ikke? Det kan jeg bedre lide. Hvis du kommer ind i toppen med 4 fod her, ikke? Ja, han skud er så svagere.
Farten er jo der, hvor vi gerne vil have den. Altså, jeg ved godt, de ikke fejrer den.
Det var fordi der var nede i 7, ikke? Så, okay.
Han laver 2 nok til her, og så bare spille 2.
2 år, og den blanke er ikke forfærdelig, hvis det er.
Det spiller stadig godt. Jeg holder.
Det er klamt, altså. Jeg synes, jeg er ubehageligt.
Never before in the history of the World Men's Curling Championship has the stage been so spectacular and the backdrop so electric. A never-before opportunity to watch the best of the best on ice and soak up everything else you love about Las Vegas, including the first ever 9-day pool party. Reserve your place in history now at LasVegasCurling.rocks. Las Vegas 2018. Your curling oasis awaits.
It's the Olympic qualification event 2017 here in Pilsen, Czech Republic. It's the 1 versus 2 game. The winner here will progress to the Olympic Games. The loser gets a second chance to play at Czech Republic this evening. It's tied at 3, so at least things are quite tight, and teams are, well, if not playing perfectly, evenly. There's been a few mistakes early on. That's another one there by Italy, and lead Ferrazza slipping into the rings, and being the 5th end, it looks like Denmark might take their chance at maybe blanking here. Try and take control of the even ends. And what's the thought about, you know, we talk about it sometimes, controlling the even ends, but why, and why would you do that?
Yeah, I think the logic behind it is if, you know, they blank here, they score at 6, 8 and 10, they're going into that 10th end with the hammer. But, you know, best laid plans of mice and men, it doesn't always work that way. You know, in an ideal world, you take your 2, you force 1. But the opposition will have other ideas.
Of course, if you blank the 5th as well, now there's 3 even ends left and only 2 odd ends. So if you can stick to the plan, you get to score 3 times and leave your opponent only scoring twice. But of course, the extra end is also always in play. But yeah, well,
I think Denmark probably, you know, they were controlling most of that end, and for them to suddenly lose a 2 there, that was probably, they'll be disappointed with that. So maybe just blank this end and go into the 5th end break.
Of course, having last on advantage is quite important, and well, the shorter you can make this game, the bigger that advantage becomes, you would think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we've seen a few errors. Denmark had that draw for 3, and they could have forced a 1 at the last. So the score's tight, just from a few errors being made and the opposition being able to capitalise. But as we saw in the very first
No,
end,
it's a
last stone,
2 decimi di differenza era.
Denmark tried to blank and ended up nosing. So
Però una finita, l'altra mi pare fra vestiti.
game plans are all good, but they don't always work out 100% perfectly.
No, execution kind of needs to follow.
Hard, buddy. Hard, harder.
Just Mikkel Pilsen just rolling out, not the biggest error. But does leave Italy a chance to play a draw here. They will actually throw the centre guard. Could force a mistake from Denmark. Leave a guard.
Linea buona.
Buona 2.
Un po' largo, un po' largo.
Italy would be quite happy if
2 più 3.
Denmark had to score a 1 here.
Spazio.
3.
Yeah, they'd love to force a 1 at this end.
Tira dentro, là, che sennò le corner.
So this one's slipping all a bit deep, so just bringing it into the rings.
Okay.
Go, hang, go, step. Step. Come on. Hurry. Hurry.
Come in.
Notice it, plays that well.
Played his first international competition in 2004. Mikkel Pilsen, the World Juniors in Canada. And that year, Nicholas Edin won the World Juniors. And I'll have a great chance to play the same guy again in Pyeongchang if they win here today.
9,5.
It's funny when you look back at the records. And,
9,5. 10.
you know, you might have played the same guys for 20 years.
Absolutely, because you come through the juniors and then play into men's and ladies and then even seniors now. So you can always be playing the same people. They just get a little bit older and greyer. But no, it's a great opportunity. These two teams have got 2 chances today to get to that Olympic Games. Massive boost for them and their associations and the sport of curling.
Det vil alligevel ikke filme. Nu prøver jeg at lave reklamer af den.
9,5.
Oh, clean. Step.
Vai, la fumola.
Step. Hard.
Gain.
Tira. Hard. Okay.
So we're just nosing that.
9:30.
Denmark will want to hit and roll into the house here. They don't want to nose it and leave a guard.
Hang, go.
Lidt oppe.
Over der.
Sæt. Sæt.
Lidt oppe.
Sæt. Jep.
Lidt oppe.
Jep.
Yeah, plays that really nicely. Rolls into the wing. Just spun back in.
Com'era questa?
9,5, giocata bene.
A menzato dopo.
Sei dentro, vai tanto.
Denmark will just remove it.
Well, speaking of World Juniors, Rasmus, of course, world champion from 2009 in the same arena that was used for the Olympic Games in Vancouver. So he knows how to win in an Olympic arena. So they'll have that with them. If he moves on to Pyeongchang. Has not won a big men's competition yet. Silver medal at the Europeans, silver medal at the Worlds.
per sicurezza.
Linea buona T. Dove?
4-2.
T-line. Linea buona.
Buona T.
So will they put this in the same place where Rasmus nosed at the first end? Yes, they will. This is where he tried to blank, out in this wing, and he nosed it. So Italy have put it back in exactly the same place.
On purpose, you think?
Absolutely. There's method in their madness. They want them to nose this again. But Rasmus will want to blank.
It's a bit of a mental thing as well. Do you think Rasmus knows that they put it there because he...
Definitely.
Well, we'll see if he can make it this time. Hit and roll out to blank the end, retain the hammer. This one's looking a lot better from the Danish skip. Just going to clip that, roll out, and that's a blank end. So score remains at 3-3 for these teams as they will head into the halftime break. And we'll be back with more in just a few moments.
Il Cepoli che è un po' sempre...
The 1-versus-2 playoff game in the men's competition. Denmark plays Italy. Denmark scoring 1 in the first end, leaving this draw for Amos Musaner in the second, facing a couple of red counters. Just squeaking past the top stone here to enter the forfeit and tie the game after 2. In the third end, Rasmus Jarna, skip of Denmark, with a glorious chance to score 3, but comes up quite heavy and a bit of a sweep. He will slide all the way through the rings. After a quick measure, it would be 2. And then for Italy, a chance in the fourth end to tie things up. Hit and stick required by Musaner. Catches the high side, but stays in the forfeit. So I'm sure both teams are quite content at half-time. Tight score. Pretty much back to where we started. Denmark will have the hammer once more.
Alt.
Så længe der støtter hinanden og bruger hinanden.
Ja, så skal de give lidt volumen på stemmen, ikke? Ud og få lidt... Nej, jeg synes.
Okay guys, are we ready for a battle? Yeah, we should be. Yeah, let's come down to the last 5, eh? Let's keep it up, guys. I mean, that's the only way we can deal with this. Really be on top of everything.
Yeah.
I just want you to be on top of the split times and everything, the speed of this ice. Because you are alone out here now, it could happen things. But no, maybe some more people coming in as well. It could be something coming in from the side. I know they have prepped the ice beside you. That's going to drag it.
Well, you can hear Søren Gran with a bit of a pep talk there at halftime. As we take a look at some of the numbers, it's quite even, as you would expect, just by looking at the scoreboard. There's not really much to pick from here. I mean, playing fairly evenly across the board, just for draws and hits and total percentages. We expect more of the same for the next 5 ends as we take a look at the final stages and how they work once more. Winner of this game goes to Pyeongchang. The loser gets a second chance to play Czech Republic and home favorite Jiří Snitil. So we're back on the ice for the 6th end, the second half. Ferrazza just waiting for the clock to tick down to the appropriate amount of time for him to start his throw. As you see him playing 70% so far. He's had a couple of mistakes early on. He'll be looking to improve his game a little bit, and Gonin will be looking to keep on his feet. Again, slipping into the rings here. Ferrazza has been coming up deep with a couple of draws, and it's also something we see quite often in the 6th end. Why is that?
Just sometimes when during the 5th end break, you know, the players have just come off and they step back on just thinking it'll be exactly the same, but during the break the icemen will have been on and mopped up and down the ice, and it just is slightly slicker. See this one sliding on, is it going to stop?
I wonder if that's just going to be a nibbler. It's a little upsetting to see, you know. I mean, the teams are experienced enough to know this, and if I was a lead, I would think, well, throw 4 feet less just in case, and if the speed is the same, well, then the sweepers will just do the rest of the job.
Absolutely, the sweepers are there, and you know they can easily take that stone. So yeah, this red has slipped in, so that's 2 mistakes again. The leads are struggling a bit today with this, their draw weight.
Of course, Ferrazza's mistake not as big, seeing how Denmark just wanted to throw a guard anyway. But for Oliver DuPont coming in here, it's changing up the game plan for Denmark in the end,
well,
quite severely.
Because you know they played that 5th end wanting to take their 2 at the 6th, so by that very first stone coming in, changes everything completely.
Well, of course, you could throw another corner guard here, but now 2 yellows in the house. Of course, there's some caution being taken here.
Yeah, the last thing Denmark want is to be forced to draw for 1, so they probably accept now they're going to have to blank this end.
Yep, so you might just be running the rocks up and down once more.
But it's such a fine line, you know, that lead stone is so critical to being correct when you've got that game plan with a hammer.
Well, the teams will definitely back some more clock here, so time should never be an issue in this game, you'd think.
And next year it'll be interesting, you know, with the 5-rock rule coming in. I think we're going to see an awful lot of less blank ends.
Yeah, just because if the lead does put the first corner guard into play, they can get a second chance, throw up the second, and the teams won't be able to peel it. So
yeah, I think it'll certainly eliminate some blank ends along the way, which will be more exciting. More stones in play.
going in has had a good game. He's a manager and a coach at a club back home. Of course, if that's your day job, quite a lot of time to throw some rocks yourself. Not having to travel from a workplace through home, practice, back, spend all day at the rink.
Yeah, nice job to have.
Could ever become too much if your job is curling and you're also curling, spending too many hours at the rink.
Yeah, it's nice to get that break, but it's getting that even balance lifestyle with your sport. And you know, if his day job is on the ice all the time and then he wants to practice, he definitely needs that breakaway, or it will become very monotonous. So right on the button.
Johnny Fredriksson has enjoyed a good start to the game, 88% through the first 5 ends. And I'll make another nose hit here.
Clean. Clean. Clean it.
Yeah, Italy only has about 440 curlers in the country. But there are 10 dedicated facilities. There's 10 sports facilities in the country, not all dedicated to curling, but they do have specific curling venues. And with the Olympics in Pinerolo in 2006, it did generate a lot of interest.
Hard! Hard, Mikkel, hard!
Again.
Proviamo l'in per il punto.
Sì, anche sì.
Proviamo l'in.
Mi piace esterno? Come l'in?
Proviamo l'in per andare in centro.
Ah, ok. Sì, va bene, proviamo l'in. Ok.
So, Mosner's down a 6% on his week's average for today's game.
13-25.
And throws it straight through the house.
Yeah, it's not going to make a huge difference for the end, I think, but it's just going to upset him even further.
Yeah, affects his confidence.
You can see when he scored the 2 in the 4th end, he wasn't even happy because he's missed that first one. So definitely the temper is something he's going to have to try and keep under control.
Yeah, he's very young, 22 years of age. You know, he's just come out of juniors and he's still developing, you know, himself as a player. But with the experience that's in his team, they'll help him and guide him through, and try and keep him calm. Rasmus 78, so pretty close to his week's average.
So
he puts his draw in well into the forefoot.
Så er spillet. Nej, 16.
Nove e mezzo!
Wow, wow, Mike. Clean. Just clean. Yep.
Wow, wow.
Mike. 9:40.
No, so hits and rolls out. So Denmark don't even need to try and blank the end. They can just throw this through. Nothing to hit.
Yeah, wanted to score 2 here in 6, but that plan didn't quite come together after the first corner guard slipped into the rings. So blank end here, and it'll still be tied at 3 now. 2 blank ends, the 2 last ends. But I'm sure we'll have some rocks in play in the 7.
Ottimo è così, se per pari, so.
Fai un bel forse adesso. Sì, va bene, ottimo cazzo.
Mettemela da questo per questi.
Le carrate mende qua, eh?
Sì, so, però dell'altra non è una merda, non trovo.
Vabbè, ma la prima te l'ho bendata
Sì,
davanti.
sì, so, sono da dentro, so.
Te la devo bende qua, giocano all'out, poi magari in colin con la seconda.
Never before in the history of the World Men's Curling Championship has the stage been so spectacular and the backdrop so electric. A never-before opportunity to watch the best on ice and soak up everything else you love about Las Vegas, including the first ever 9-day pool party. Reserve your place in history now at LasVegasCurling.rocks. Las Vegas 2018. Your curling oasis awaits.
Tiro piano adesso.
Seventh end now. This game between Denmark and Italy. We've had a couple of blank ends. Tied at 3.
Well, looks as though we're going to have a guard here. So, will Denmark want to take their 2 at the 7th end? Or they want a blank to go to 8?
Yeah, well, we did discuss, you know, the number of even ends and odd ends. Of course, Denmark, they blank here. There's 2 even ends to score in versus the 1 odd end. So definitely good result, the blank, but you're sure that Italy's not going to give that away too easily. And then, of course, some teams then think, well, very hard to blank when your opponent tries to stop you from doing so. And then they just go hard for the 2 instead.
Yeah, well, they've come round here, so they didn't put up a corner guard.
Oh, could have seen that. It's definitely something we saw from Czech Republic yesterday. Doesn't necessarily mean they want a blank. It could just be their normal approach to the game. Just coming in, taking control of the forefoot early. Slips a bit too deep, so Ferrazza with a chance to come on top here. Play the freeze.
Spingiamo, forza.
No, non è male, T-line 4-2. T-line, senza lì, T-line, giusti.
Solo tipo buona. Momo, tira giù.
Oh, easy, easy.
Solo freeze, no bounce. Oh, no bounce.
No bounds. Yeah, well played.
Well, much better from Ferrazza here.
So these just being on the 1 foot, Denmark will want to tap back and put some separation between the yellow and the red. But it's key here what happens with his shooter.
Well, you know, both leads not playing at their best so far, so it'd be a huge advantage for one of the teams if these leads starts playing a little better and starts setting up the ends.
Yeah, it just makes a massive difference for the leads to get the stones in the right place. Swept us the whole way to get it past the guard, and then it did pass by a fair bit in the end.
Perhaps a little bit too safe with the line call there, Rasmus Stjarnet. You can see the yellow stones kind of lined up towards the back red, but I'm sure we'll see those angles change fairly quickly. Going in, let's try and come on top again here.
4-2. Molto buona. 4-2. Yep. Linea. T-line. 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 Linea. T-line. Linea. T-line. Linea. Oh. No.
That's a lovely shot. Denmark will still be able to see part of that top yellow.
Not a lot, but definitely a sliver.
Det tænker jeg bedre. Så har du den inde i bagefter.
To come around here. See if they can move that back yellow far enough. Maybe even out of the rings and then keep the shooter in the house. That way there'll be 3 reds, 1 yellow in the rings. That'd be a bit worrisome for Italy.
This is going to have to curl though. Coming now.
Can't quite move the yellow far enough. Leaves perhaps a double on these red stones for Italy.
The only good thing there, although he didn't move it far enough, is put the yellow in the open. Can see the clocks in the background. 38 minutes thinking time each, so both at 17. So more than enough to play the last 4 ends.
Yeah, both teams still have their timeout as well, if needed.
8 secondi. 8 secondi. 8 secondi. 8 secondi.
Want to lift both reds here. He's a bit on the high side.
Okay.
We'll catch a back one though.
So Denmark can hit and roll to the other wing and put separation between their stones now. Yep, do lie two, just.
You sure?
I think so. No? Would you go for yellow?
No, I'll take your word for it.
Okay. Never disagree with a woman's hand.
Well, it was a little too close for comfort, wasn't it? I mean...
Yeah, they were sweeping.
Sweeping the roll.
But to be honest...
Hey! Hey! Bomba!
So Italy trying to get a roll here, but this is looking...
Wow.
Very tight. That's a bad miss from Italy there.
Guarda.
Så der ikke nogen nem triple.
That was on his out turn as well.
Så det ikke pænt ud, Arne?
He struggled more with the in
Det
turn.
okay ud?
Up weights.
Jeg tror, du skal op på kanten.
He's been pretty good with the out turns so far this week, and that one just nowhere close.
I think he was just so conscious of thinking he wants to hit it in the inside to get the roll, and just turned it in and started it. So really important here for Denmark to keep this top tee. Demanding it to sit. That's a pretty good shot there.
Johnny.
It's well buried.
Jeg kan godt lide den der, selvom man laver den. Okay.
Well, I mean, it does leave Italy a chance to play the freeze here and take those 2 other reds out of play.
Yeah, the last thing they want to do is bounce off here to leave Denmark another hit and roll. So really important just to freeze.
Buona T-line!
Linea spazio.
T-line!
Linea buona, no T-line! No T-line!
Dov'è?
8!
T-line!
Linea! Linea! Forte linea! Bomba, sempre per la linea. Sempre per la linea, bounce va bene.
Okay, Joy.
Buona.
Yep, it's pretty good there. Difficult for Denmark to remove it. After his first miss there, he wanted to make up for it. His second shot.
Sì, però non c'ha pes, batte le scuole.
Time out for Denmark.
Så var det rimelig afgørende ende der, dreng, hvis vi gør det rigtigt
You have
nu.
a few counters in there, so just wanting to
Har han en af doblerne inde på siden?
plan a little bit.
Nej, der er ikke nogen nemme altså,
figure out how they can score a big
godt
one.
lave den der over, ikke?
See Mikael Kvist just
Men den kan han jo også lave, selvom vi ligger
talking to
selvom vi
Ulrik
fjerner
Schmidt
den.
for coming down.
Hvis du ligger halvt på den her inde, han kan stadig godt, altså hvis du ligger der, han kan stadig godt komme rundt og tabe den dernede. Så den er ikke,
Ulrik obviously on for the next game with the women. So
hvis du fjerner garden,
it's an important day for Danish curling and Italian.
Spiller han den der? Det er det, jeg står over om han prøver. Men hvis garden ikke er der, så skal han jo. Men den her vinkel, ikke også, hvis han spiller den der, ikke? Den der ved side der. Så skal han få den ud over. Så har vi dobbelt lige ned, ikke? Ja, præcis. Så har du dobbelt lige ned. Så vi prøver at gå efter to. Det er også farligt skud, ikke? Hvis du fjerner garden, så han så lave den her. Lad dækkeren der.
Både min og Ulriks første tanke, det er jo pilgarden.
Ja, ikke?
Det er jo ikke nogen katastrofe at tage ind. Og hvis vi piler garden, hvor laver han så?
Så er han nødt til at lave et eller andet nede i midten.
Lige præcis. Og så lægger jeg en dobbelt eller et eller andet ting til os.
Ja. Altså selvom han er næsten nødt til at prøve at spille en af dobblerne,
ikke? Lige præcis, det er det vi tænker på. Så har han næsten...
Hvis han bare taber den dernede, så kan du prøve at se,
han kan også skyde den der, ikke?
Ja,
han kan også skyde den lige på.
Så har vi dobbelt lige nede, ikke?
Så højre, han sætter den lige på nettet.
Og så det er ikke nogen katastrofe at tage en etter i den her ende. Men hvis vi piler garden, så giver vi os selv
jeg tænker, hvis vi lægger den der, han taber den dernede, og laver det der hero-skud, så har vi bare ikke nogen vej til midten.
Jeg er enig med pilgarden.
Ja.
So Mikael Kvist coming out saying, well, for him and Ulrik Schmidt, their first thought was just to peel the guard. And the Danish boys have been thinking about that themselves, thinking, well, quite important to even just scoring one here in the 8th end, or 7th end really. It's not the end of the world. We want to allow them a chance to do that. You peel the guard though, I mean, Italy's still going to have to make a pretty good shot not to give him a chance to score 2.
Yeah, because I think the thought was, well, if they take the guard off, if Italy come in to make a play on the shot, they could leave a double.
Do you agree with the call, Rona?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's still third player stones. Get the front open, you've got a lot of counters in the head, so...
Oh, well,
oh no.
Don't want to... Well, he didn't want to wreck on that redstone on the wing. In the end, leaves a guard. That's a bit of a mistake from Johnny Fredriksson. And you know, that guard might be a nuisance for later on. And it takes that in-turn draw away.
Yeah, that's the problem. It does block the in-turn draw if needed. Italy will be quite happy to keep guarding that second shot. They'd be delighted to just lose a 1 at this end.
Denmark doesn't have the best timeout statistics. Taking 5 timeouts so far this week. The success on the next shot coming up has been 60%. So clearly when they take a timeout, maybe, well, sometimes you have a tough shot obviously after a timeout because you're in trouble, but sometimes just takes some of the flow of the game away, kills some of the momentum, have a big break, and then you throw and you're just a bit out of it.
So interestingly, Italy hit the winger there. So they do lie second and third shot.
Det er bare mere for at samle toplerne. Hvis vi fjerner den der, så får en gratis forsøg på den. Ja.
Would you rather open up the 4 foot now with your first stone?
Så gænger jeg midten åben. Hvis du sidder med 2 her, så er det fint.
Well, Denmark's looking at playing the hit and roll off the
Det giver altså mere mening at fjerne den.
Yellowstone top 4.
Gør det. Ja.
Saying that, well, if we do make this roll, we will give Italy a chance to play a double on the other 2 reds. But
så er der ikke en dobbelt mere heller. 12. Sæt den her op.
make a good roll here.
Yeah, if you make and roll that one behind that corner would then be quite a safe shot. And then if they lifted the double off the other one, they would still be lying 1, Denmark. So
I think Italy will have to, even if they wanted to play that double, they would have to be careful with the jam on the back of the 8 foot as well. Hit and roll for Rasmus Stjerna.
played a nice controlled weight, but can the sweepers hold it? No, they can't.
Just over curls and could afford to tickle the red, but just pushed it too far. The yellows is now out counting that back red, and Italy second shot.
I know that's a missed opportunity. Italy can now lie 2. Potentially 3, depending on that measure between red and yellow, but they can lie 2 here and really force Denmark to draw for 1.
And you'd think maybe if you can try and roll a foot to the right, both the natural draws paths are kind of taken away from Rasmus Stjerna. With that guard left by Johnny Fredriksson.
He's looking good.
See, a tiny roll, not quite. It'd be tempting to roll that shot just a little more to the left and make the out-turn draw a little harder for Denmark, but I think they'll be quite happy to get the force here. I could hear Retronaz actually wanting a bit of a roll. Just didn't sweep it enough. So a draw against 2 by the looks.
Yeah, I think so. So a key shot here. Looking good for their 2 all end.
Scored twice so far in the game, Denmark. First one was a A missed blank attempt in the first. In the third, he had a draw to score 3, and it went all the way through the rings. This time, really needing to find the forfeit.
He does have some backing here, but he wants to just be.
Bit of confusion in terms of how heavy that stone was and if they needed the backing, but in the end, that is good enough for one. Denmark scores a single, and after 7 ends of play, Denmark up 4-3 over Italy.
Ragazzi, abbiamo forzato la settima.
Super, no, ragazzi, ci siamo.
Super così per il scoreboard. Però dove andare per i nostri due adesso? Tranquilli per i nostri due?
Sempre messi bene così con quello così. È buono. Dall'altra parte sono arrivati così, sotto del colonne, al secchio.
Move on. Indånding. 5-6. Warning. Højres. 1-10. 1-10. Panera plads. Panera god. Panera god. Panera Astrid.
You're watching live coverage from the World Curling Federation Olympic Qualification event 2017 here in Pilsen, Czech Republic. We're in the Kossuth Arena. Only one game out there, and it's the 1 versus 2 playoff game. Denmark plays Italy, and the winner will go to the Olympic Games. The loser gets a second chance to play the Czech Republic this evening. It's a close game, but there has been mistakes from both teams. Surely some nerves coming into play, and you might see more of that now as the end is, well, coming closer. A 10-end game, so 3 more to go. But with this close line score, you might wonder if we could get an extra end as well here. Let's take a look at the lead comparison. The leads haven't been quite on form so far, Rona.
They haven't, because they've both played very well all week. But today they've just really struggled with their stone placement.
Yeah, Oliver Dupont is actually ranked first for leads alongside Chinese lead Zhang Zhiliang, and behind them in third place is Ferrazza, lead for Italy. So definitely 2 of the best leads in the competition in terms of shooting percentages. It's a better start here in the 8th end. 2 nice rocks in the house by Dupont, and the corner guards in a nice spot for Italy. Now Ferrazza looking for the hit and roll. Needs to keep the shooter in play anyway. Very important. Cannot afford to roll out here, but he will.
Yep, so straight away Denmark will just remove the corner guard.
Yeah, again, we talked about the even ends, how Italy has a chance to score in the 8th and the 10th end. Denmark would prefer maybe even a blank here and make it a 2-end game. That way both teams just score once each.
Yeah, well, both teams have really tried hard to get their 2s at times, but just with stone placement, they've each only scored 1-2 in this game so far, so just nothing separating them. Second players have both had a good game today.
Yeah, you would have to say so. Making monster shots.
And this is really when you get to the 8th, 9th, 10th end of a game, when it is as close as this. This really is the key time to focus hard, because one mistake could cost you dearly. You know, if you have a mistake and lose a couple earlier in the game, you've got time to recover, but at this stage in the game, you don't have that recovery time, so really important to step up a gear at the business end of the game.
A curling game like this can last for up to 3 hours, even more, but it feels really quick as a player, doesn't it? It goes by, just by like that.
It does. It does go really quickly. And that's where it's, you know, not getting sucked into maybe the speed the opposition want to play at, or, you know, you've got your own time clock and play at the pace you want to play. At this stage in the game, one nosed peeled guard could cost you dearly, so it's really key to keep the focus. But Denmark peeling successfully at this end. There's the third players, 84% for Johnny Fredriksson. Geo-blocked just a few percent below, so they're pretty close and having a good game.
Got away with his big mistake in that 7th end. Geo-blocked just complete miss on an open hit. It was looking a bit scary for the Italians. Denmark drew to lie 3, but a couple of good shots by Italy, and it was only the one for Denmark. Still trying to put up that corner guard, just waiting for a mistake, but
yeah, they've moved to the other side, put it in a different position just to see if it can force that error. But now it's closer to the house. Denmark could hit and roll into the house to lie 2, which would make the blank a bit harder.
And I think that's the goal here. Still playing quite a firm weight. So just a little bit too safe of a throw by Johnny Fredriksson.
But better that than nosing it.
I mean, you would think for Denmark, quite happy with a blank even here in 8.
Yeah, force 1 and 9 and come home peels with a hammer. Perfect situation.
So Italy will do their best here to try and generate a 2. There's not much to play with, but there's one rock in the back of the button, so Geo-blocked needs to play pretty much a perfect freeze here for this yellow to stick around. Did a really good one on the same path, just right in end 4. If you remember that corner freeze, but this one will just over curl slightly and leave some separation. Denmark contemplating sticking around to the line 2, but in the end I think he's just going to throw a hard one here and make sure the yellow one goes. Won't be too bothered if he spills everything.
Yeah, he doesn't want to leave that one back tee for them to put another freeze on, so I'm sure he'll be quite happy if they all go. Well played.
Så tager man en af, hvis du vil, men det lå lige der, hvor den... Det er fint. Og skriv den. Ja, det er det.
Det er som om... 4,
Ok, linea buona.
5-2, 3, 5-3.
Abbastanza fuori mo'.
No, no, perché fuori? Tanto che c'è.
Dove?
Ma che cazzo dice? Al limite.
Non per il...
Lo so, lo so.
Ok.
Ja, høj! Høj, høj! Bum!
I can see Rasmus wanting that stone to just slip through the rings, but keep it in play, just so he has a chance to play the freeze and give Italy a bit of a worry. Ramos still shaking his head. Well, it's not the most important misses. And it's not causing too much trouble, but surely it's going to play with your confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. From the grand scheme of things, you know, to try and blank this end now, it's not a major miss, but it's your whole confidence. If he has to suddenly draw with the last stone of the game, you know, he's thrown a couple of draws through now, and that confidence will be quite low. But Phil Rettenaz was trying to say, look, it's fine, it's okay, you know, don't worry. He's trying to keep him going. Can Denmark come up and freeze it and cause a problem?
Looks a little bit shy for weight. How far can they drag it? Johnny takes over.
Good effort, just a wee bit short.
Pretty good line there. Makes it a tad harder for Amos Mosaner. We've seen Rasmus Tjernet having to blank a couple of ends. Let's see if the Italian fourth player can do the deed. No problems here. So should feel happier about that throw. Blank end, Denmark still leads at 4-3. With 2 ends left in this 1-2 game.
Never before in the history of the World Men's Curling Championship has the stage been so spectacular and the backdrop so electric. A never-before opportunity to watch the best of the best on ice and soak up everything else you love about Las Vegas, including the first ever 9-day pool party. Reserve your place in history now at LasVegasCurling.rocks. Las Vegas 2018, your curling oasis awaits.
Wow. 2. 3, dreng. Kører mærkeligt, dreng. Har han taget noget?
So this is where Leeds have struggled a wee bit, but it's getting to the stage that their stone placement's vital now.
Yeah, it's just becoming more and more important. So Italy, 1 down here in the 9th end. What's the game plan, or what's the end plan for Italy here in the 9?
Well, what's their preference? Do they want to go into the 10th end 1 down with the hammer, or 1 up without the hammer? Certain teams have a preference of the way they want to play the 10th end, so do they want to go for their 2 here? and go in one up and then try and go for the extra. Or blank this end and just go for their 2 at the 10th.
Well, stats show that being 1 up or one up without or 1 down with the hammer in the 10th end is more or less a coin flip. If anything, from the stats I've seen, it's almost a slight advantage being 1 up. But like you said, teams would probably have a look and take a look at their own statistics and try and figure out if, you know, are we better being 1 up or are we better being 1 down and scoring 2? But I think most teams prefer maybe being 1 down and you know, the game's in their hands and they get to throw the last rock. And it's a much better way of winning as well, to make the final stone for the game instead of hoping for a miss from your opponent. Still, you could force your opponent to the 1 and win it in the extra, but you know.
Yeah, you've played 10 ends, so why not just take your 2 at the 10th and win? You don't need an extra end. It is, and you know, it's each team's own preference, but I suppose as well it's the way the ice is playing and the way the game's going, how your team are playing, all these things come into consideration.
Well, the part about the ice, I think that's not going to be a major concern. It's been running so consistent from start to finish. Every game, every day. I think the teams would be feeling pretty confident in throwing that forfeit draw for the win. It shouldn't, you know, sometimes a slight path will fudge up and it'll be all hard. You know, you come a little outside the fudge and it's quick. You come into the slight path early, it slows down. We haven't seen that this week. It's been sliding well all the way through 10 and even 11 ends. So
it really has. It's been great ice all week. No frost on it at all. Oh, and Denmark have just caught that guard and didn't really open it up a huge amount. So, Italy do lie too. So, chance here for Italy to build up a big end. Obviously, if they can take a 3, they're going to go for that.
That's kind of committed now, I think. Unless they want to just peel the guard here. Keep the blank alive.
Again, it's what's their preference as a team.
You never feel that comfortable playing around the centre guard either when you have the last stone, because you know if anything goes wrong, there's not a lot of room to draw to. Forfeits, kind of lock down, less room. But it does make sense to come around the guard when you're sitting too.
I know it does, but as you say, you don't like to come around everything around the centre guard when you've got last stone. You know, you want that 4 foot open.
But you know, if this is the second end, you know, you're not going to think about it. You're not going to think twice. But if the game plan for them was maybe to be able to blank, calling a draw here is just going to take that away. So after some consideration, going in is asked to come around here, and this is looking pretty good.
Yeah,
gets a bite of the forfeit to sit 3. And you can see how double on the yellows might jam on the red. Rasmus Stjerne hoping it'll spin up and out off the red stone and out the side door. We'll see how much action Mikkel Pilsen can get.
It'd be also good to get a shooter behind the guard.
Let's see, it's going to hit it pretty much where they want. 1-2, and it will spin out on the left. So that's a good read by Rasmus Stjerne, knowing the angles.
So is it a better result there to take the double, or to get the hit and roll and leave one of the yellows if you get the roll behind that yellow on the button? But again, what's Denmark's plan? Are they happy? Not happy to lose a 2, but if they did lose a 2, well, they're only 1 down with the hammer playing the last So it's damage limitation really for them.
Probably not the end of the world to give up 2 here. I'm sure if Denmark has a perhaps has a call in the end, a choice in the end to either go for a steal or with the chance, a risk of giving up 2, they might take it.
So you heard the town saying, "Oh boy," when his stone finished because they thought he'd left an easy double. But it's not an easy one. They're fairly square.
Well, Johnny Fredriksson can't throw it the hardest. But is it hard enough? 1, 2? Almost making matches worse, really. Now Italy with a chance to play a hit and roll to the other wing and have pretty much maximum separation.
So in a case like that, when they were so square, it was a very difficult double. You just hit the outside one and roll over and check the shot to make the Italians' next shot harder.
Well, certainly in retrospect, you might think that.
Okay.
You'll see that has happened quite a few times this week. Going for that double and just ends up, you know, making it worse a little bit. It is in the open though, yellow.
It forces Italy to play the perfect end now. They have to keep that second counter in.
I don't know if Denmark could ever make the roll in behind cover. You can get the force or even the steal.
Great shot.
So, 3 more stones left for Denmark. They're going to try and inch their way towards the center line.
Kan du vel lige skyde den anden, Arne? Hva? Kan du vel lige skyde den anden? Ja, den der ligger højst, ikke? De ligger fuldstændig i linje. Hvad er du selv mest til? Jeg siger, men der er mindre risiko derovre, og det er samme rull.
Jeg synes, vi skal tage den derovre.
Altså, hvis ruller der, og han kommer derned, så har jeg den dobbelt ind.
Præcis.
10.
So just choosing to take the widest rock.
I suppose it's really the same distance to roll off either of these. But this one is wide open, the other one is towards a guard, so.
Yeah, this one is wider as well, so you know, it would leave the yellows slightly more narrow, perhaps.
Just not drawing enough at the end.
A nose hit from Italy and gives Denmark a pretty good angle to make the roll in behind cover. Kind of building up.
Italy are lying short, so they're looking at ignoring that red and just drawing a second one round.
No, perché sennò che lasciano Elo, se lo volnare.
Vabbè, lascia che ne sono match contro due.
Va bene?
Because you have that red stone just nibbling the rings on the right hand side, so you feel like the blank is probably not in play. So you could just draw to the 8-foot, but in the end I think it's just a nose hit. It's got quite a different look, Retonaz.
Clean. Yep. Okay.
If you look back to the 06 Olympics, quite clean-shaven young boy. Now with that big beard and mustache. Used to wear glasses too.
That was 11 years ago, he was just a wee boy. And he'll love mentoring Amos at 22, you know, that's where he was at, and you know, when he started playing in that 2006 Olympic Games, so it's he'll be a good mentor for him.
Well, Retonaz played skipping through 4th rocks for a long time himself, so probably just stepping down, playing 3rd. and having the chance then to coach Hosanna in that 4th position. As you see, Rasmus Stjarne just not quite making that roll, and now I think the draw makes a lot more sense for Italy.
Yeah, definitely. And just drawing back out to the wing.
Now this is where, you know, you might think, oh, I'll come around the centre guard, but it's not. You're not going to gain very much from it.
No. They're set up nicely for their 2 here, but what we were saying earlier about confidence with his draw weight, he's put a couple of draws through the house, so this is a real key shot for him.
Well, this should be routine, but of course, 9th end of a game that's going to take you to the Olympic Games. So different.
Sweepers seem quite happy at the moment. They're 58% on his draws today.
Well, starting to grab, starting to curl, starting to swing. Are they able to hold it? Need to come in, full 12 here. That's enough. Oof. I think it's enough. Yes.
Yeah, just.
Ooh.
Good grief.
What a scare for Italy. Sweepers look pretty happy. Let's just start curling.
So Denmark can hit this and roll behind the cover in the centre line just to give Italy a harder shot to play.
Yeah, might as well go hard for the roll here. Get a perfect one. Makes it tough for Italy. Probably going to see the brooms being kept down on this one. Want to keep things clean. Just let off at the end here. We'll roll. How far? A little bit too far.
Unlucky.
Does force Hosanna to make the hit and stick. Some extra cleaning from Retronaz and Gonin. We haven't seen very many pickups this week.
No, not at all. I've only seen one, I think, all week. So the ice has been really clean, really good. Mark Callan and his men have done a merry job.
Last on the 9th end here. Hit for 2 for Italy to take the lead. Coming into the final end. Looks pretty close here, just wanting to curl a tad more. And now the sweepers on it, right on the beak, 2 for Italy. So the score, after 9 ends of play here in the 1-2 game, it's Italy 5-4. 1 end to go.
Det var næsten for langt ud, hellere når bare var bløde sådan, ikke? Det var jo ikke dobbelt spillet, altså det var mere bare... Skal vi se fremad, så... Ja, nu ser vi fremad. Så han lægger den ind. Ja, men altså det vi gjorde med Kauset, jeg synes vi skal sørge for at få cornergarden bredt nok ud, så vi kan bruge begge sider til at komme ind og arbejde med. Og han vil lukke midten af så meget muligt, ikke? Så længe vi holder midten åben til sidst. Ja. Jeg tror, du skal spille indhæng cornergarden. Indhæng cornergarden? Ja, det ser ud som om. Den du havde på dit sidste drag derned. Den køler fint, ikke? Det var midten af stil.
Stava a pisciare il mondo.
No, aspetta un attimo, una mano, porti via.
No, le tre che devo una mano. Cosa? No, quando andare a pisciare, perdo un tiro, non è.
No, ormai non vai. Sono lì, si va a pisciare quando c'è un po' di tagli.
Eh?
Si va a pisciare quando c'è un po' di tagli.
No, non sono nella pausa, poi io sono dopo.
Ah, bravo.
Buon punto.
Buon punto.
Su 3-9.
Ok.
3-9 di qua.
4 dovrebbe. Guarda la bolla.
Tranquillo.
Well, this could quite possibly be the final end of this 1 versus 2 game here in Pilsen. Winner goes to the Olympic Games. The loser will have a second chance, but it'd be so sweet. Just win it right here and not have to think about another game today.
Yeah, absolutely. Both these teams desperate to win here. So it's quite clear here. Italy either want to force a 1 or take a steal, and Denmark want to score a 2. So so it's really the team's preference here. I think Italy will be quite happy to force 1 and go down the extra with the hammer.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, sometimes you see teams play hard for the steal, but given the scenario, I think they're just going to probably even come into the rings with both the rocks here and just hope for a mistake from Denmark so they can kill and take the 2 away.
Because if they play hard and one half shot, they could suddenly lose their 2, and that's the game gone just in a whim. So I think Italy will be happy to force Denmark to 1 here. This is a bit high coming in. Weight was nice. But Denmark will just ignore it and put up their second corner. So it's the first time in the game that they would have 2 corners. Yeah, changed his mind. Do you think when he desperately needs a 2, he should put the second corner up?
Yeah, I mean, you would want to go pretty hard for your 2 here. I mean, look at the stats too. Well, if you end up scoring 1 here, what's the chances of you actually stealing 1 in the 10th extra end?
A lot less chance.
So make sure you go hard enough for the 2 here, but it's so easy to be cautious and think, oh, I gotta at least make sure we get 1 here and stay in the game. And I think that differentiates a champion team from, you know,
one that's willing to go for it, and one, you know, you've got to have that killer instinct now in the game and actually play to win. I thought Italy might have ignored this and taken the corner guard here.
It's a pretty good result there for Oliver Dupont. Actually leaves both stones in play, actually. The one's on the back line, and he's pushed that second yellow in behind the corner guard, which is now backing for Denmark if they come around with the draw.
It's giving Italy something to think about anyway. Because if they peel that corner, Denmark have got no cover there. Take this and we'll get an extra end.
Non so se ti piacciono pure insommarle non larghe. Ti piace?
Sì, sì.
Ok.
There's the time remaining. Italy have got 4 minutes 40. Denmark have got 7.5 minutes, so both have got plenty time to play this 10th end.
So I think the call here actually is a big one. They're going to look to slash the corner guard in and try and pick off that red stone top 12. See that?
The clock stops when the stone crosses the T-line.
This is a big shot here for going in.
And he's thrown it out. Misses everything.
Wow, just went a little too hard for it.
Not a happy boy. He knows that's a critical error.
You know, sometimes that happens. You know, you take a big discussion there, you call a huge shot, just a lot of expectation building up, and to throw it, and you're sitting in the hack there thinking, ooh, if I make this one, you know, it could be for the game. I could save my team here. And
instead of just thinking, I'm just peeling, he was thinking about that one he's now hitting in the house.
Yeah.
Because there was so much discussion about it. So, yeah. So, can Denmark capitalise here?
Well, certainly have a pretty good setup here now.
Ah, great shot.
Oh, it's really good, and there's no double on the Reds with that yellow guard. Or that yellow stone on the back. providing cover.
It's meaning Italy have to change their tactics now. They know they can't clear everything, so they're trying to kill what's on the side.
And Gorman's going to have to try and make up for it with a good draw here, but this one's not really curling. Does it have a couple of feet too much weight on it?
Sweeper's calling back line, so it is. It's too heavy. Second error in a row.
Oh, that's tough.
The tension out there is mounting. So much at stake for both these teams playing the 10th end.
We all know that feeling. It's like a dagger to the heart. And you know, all players have missed shots throughout the game, but you start when you miss shots in the final end, it's very easy to blame yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a team game though, and you know there's 4 of them out there. Just makes his third and skip play harder to make up for those errors. But Denmark can draw the other side and now lie 3. But all it needs is one good shot from Italy to kill that 3. They won it right back. Yeah, that's well played.
Magari
Osner's still standing, shaking his head. He's not happy with the situation, but there's no point dwelling what's just happened. Make a really good shot here. Put the pressure back onto Denmark.
Well, Freeze is good here. Takes 2 reds. Well, you're out counting 2 reds. The problem is that stone just drawn by Denmark will be shot stone most likely. And Denmark can, if they want to, come on top again. Sit 2. They're chasing here. Italy. On the back foot.
Had a really good draw before. Can he match it again? Line's good. What's the weight doing? Oh, he's perfect.
There we go. And the veteran comes up with the goods here. He's only 34, but you know, he's been around forever.
He has. He's been playing a long time and got a huge amount of experience as well. And he's probably happier not having to play the last stones. He doesn't have that responsibility, but he can still lead the team. You can hear a pin drop in the stadium right now. A lot at stake. This is a really key shot from Denmark now.
Well, from one experienced player to another. A battle at thirds just now. Wanting to get to the face of that yellow stone here.
Is he going to make contact?
Well, just sit around to sit 2. Double looks tough, but maybe something to freeze onto for Italy. It's called a timeout here. That's probably a good time to do so. And they might not only be discussing the next shot here, but a couple of shots ahead. Sörengran gets ready. Just having to give this one a think as well.
Ok? Che fallo?
No, la doppia la che è a metà comunque.
Ah, 3/4. E l'Olga di nuovo la doppia qua, ma
non è facile.
Hey guys, come and speak with me. Hey, Amos, come and speak with me so we can get the right decision here. I mean, we have to look for force now, eh?
Yes, sir.
That's our only the plan we have, and I think we should not move this top stone there. That could be helpful for us. I think so, and I think we have to deal with that side on the left-hand side there. We have to deal with that some way. I'm not against playing hit and roll on our own, like getting in there and freeze, or maybe make it even a double.
I don't know, because this one from here and I think this
sit
one
there, yeah, it could be,
jam.
Yeah. And the other one is to nose hit that one and build up for the later run, hit and roll.
And going in.
If we play,
I think that's difficult.
Only draw here.
Yeah, but that's also tight. I'm not against hitting that one and see what happened here before.
Okay, like
nose hit on that one. Yeah.
No, tamperderò qua non è male.
Yeah. And building up for the double.
Yeah. Stay short, roll with shot.
Thumbs up, sir.
Non è male. Sì, anche a pieno non è male. Okay. With the roll non mi dispiace qua, Joy.
Right, what do you make of that timeout, Rona?
Yeah, Soren was quite clear when he came down as to, you know, right guys, we're not going to be able to force one. We've got to go for the steal now. We're committed because of the counters, the red counters in the house. So raising, nosing this red, because then if they hit it, Soren's view is that then you can get the double because this will be high enough. Italy were quite keen to go for the draw round.
Probably there's a good chance they might still have that shot later on.
Yeah.
I like the fact that told them not to move the top stone. I totally agree with that. That stone, top 12, is more of a guard for Italy than anything.
Definitely.
And you can
especially because that red's behind it, and that's what's going to potentially what they'll use to freeze on or hit and roll on top of.
You can see Rasmus' first thought is here is to just make a split on that red stone. Make sure you open up.
Altså hvis vi gør det her nu, så skal han lave sin bold. Så laver det rulle, så har vi stadig den tilbage. Det er rigtigt. Jeg synes bare, det er lidt farligt at lade ham lægge. Ja, okay. Vi kan bare ramme og rulle der igen. Okay. Så længe bliver fuld.
The call in the end here is to just play the hit back, roll back to the same spot, leave the same situation for Italy. It'll be interesting to see if Italy, if the shot is made, if Italy just ends up doing the same thing. Probably hit and roll this time.
Du bør lige at rulle lidt ind, og blive lige på til sidst.
Roll davanti con 10.
Well, Amos Mosaner is about to throw two of the most important stones of his life.
Absolutely, of his young life. But that freeze that came in with Joe Retinaz, that was a real end saver for them.
70%. Throwing quite a bit of weight to this one.
Important to get the roll here.
Doesn't quite roll far enough. I think gets it just about edge to edge. Might force Denmark to have to make up a run on the redstone top 12. It's a great look at it here.
So close to being absolutely perfect, but
it's just edge to edge, so very hard for Denmark to come after it. It's not too upset.
Just hitting his leg. So close.
Hvis du spiller den lige på, har han så dobblen og stik den over i 8-fod? Ja, det har han. Har han den? Men hvis han ruller ud af 8-fod, så er det et split for sejren. Ja, ja, ja. Du kan sagtens spille den herned. Altså. Kan den helt åben, Mikkel? Jeg ligger edge.
Det ligger edge.
Kan du lige?
Hvis du bare rammer der.
Nu den bliver åben lige meget hvad, så det. Hvis du rammer den der, du ruller af.
4 minutes
altså marginalen er her, vi
plenty
spiller
time
det,
for
ikke?
Denmark.
Jo, det er det. Så du spiller kantfart eller sådan noget? Om det var hak eller hvad? Hak, ikke? Ja, hak. Lige på.
Denmark's clock ticking down while they're thinking, but plenty time
Føler det
there.
er god is, det der?
Italy don't have as much time, but they've only got 1 stone left to play.
You know, in situations like this, it's very easy for the whole team to want to pitch in. There was 3 players discussing that, but you can see Mikkel Pilsen was just on the other end waiting, and I like that at least one player just kind of stays out of the talk, and it doesn't complicate things even further. And the call is made in the end without too much discussion, just keeping the momentum.
It's difficult to remove this yellow stone without touching his own back red.
Yeah, it's going to come pretty close to the top stone here. It's trying. It's definitely trying.
Is it enough?
Oh, it's just chipped it too far.
Okay. Hvor er det godt færdigt, mand.
Wow.
So close. Trying to make it curl at the end. Just nicks it. Too far, and that's where that freeze of Joe Retinaz that came in has absolutely saved the day for them at this end.
So that yellow is second shot then, Rona.
Yes.
So even, it's almost like if they even roll out here, it's a tough shot for 2. You could probably make a split on the top one though. So I'd like to stick around here and maybe with a good roll force Rasmus Stjerna to make a good draw and could potentially steal the game right here. Well, it's just going to sit right there and probably going to force Denmark to take their single. They're going to have a quick look at the double. Could be there.
It's very thin.
It's only having to...
He only has to move that yellow stone a couple of inches.
Oh, they're going to have a look. And you know Rasmus, he's the kind of guy who can play these shots. And then this is when you need to figure out, well, do you have a bigger percentage of making that shot or stealing in the extra? You're going to have to make that call.
You know, Rasmus might be quite happy to go into the extra end going for the steal. But if he would rather go for his 2 here, he could lose the game as well.
Er det 11 igen? 11 igen, ja? Ja. Det vi taler om, du kan ikke rulle over, vel? Nej, det tror jeg ikke.
So I think the way they're going to play this in the end is just a controlled weight.
Hvor tog du her?
And just basically try and hit and roll and try and nudge that second yellow. Now it's really important now to not play so much weight that you can roll over the top. So if you catch it too thick, you just roll in for short stone. So just trying to play the perfect way here. It's hard to catch it too thin. So as long as you throw the right weight here, you'll be pretty safe. So last stone, 10th end here. Rasmus Stjerna, bit of a speed wobble coming out. Potentially for 2, and the win. If it can curl enough, catches thin enough, bounce across. Nudge the second yellow. 1. Oh, just feathered the top red. Can't believe it. And Rasmus Stjerna quite upset with his vice skip, letting that one tickle the top stone.
He was perfect.
Wow, a missed line call, and that, you know, if it passes the top stone there, I'm quite certain it's there for 2. We're even sweeping that for curl at the very end. It just went too hard for it.
Yeah, as long as they were passing that top guard, then he was catching the right.
You could see Rasmus Stjerna's frustration. That shot was made, but incredibly, we will go then to the extra end. Rasmus Stjerna's close to breaking his brush, snapping it in half.
No wonder that And that's really tough now.
Let's go one more. Yeah, well, it's always so much drama with these games.
So Denmark have to go for a steal here. How do they get over that last end disappointment? Especially Rasmus himself.
Yeah, I think it's tough on Johnny Fredriksson too. You know, he's the most experienced player out there, and he makes essentially just a bad line call. And it's just to shake off that frustration now and focus. And Oliver Dupont has done a good job here of throwing a first good guard just to get them going. Just make a couple of shots here, might settle them a little bit.
Yeah, but you saw there, John. They're still talking about that last end. They need to bin it. You know, they've got to focus here to go for the steal. They can still win.
Perazza looking for the tick shot, just moving this guard up. That's a good shot by the Italian lead. Great start for Italy. Rolls the shooter out of play. Ooh, big shot at a crucial time. And is able to push that centre guard quite wide as well. So that's going to allow both turns now for Amos Mosaner if he needs to play that forfeit draw. And if he can make one more, he can just more or less win the game for Italy right here. First, Oliver Dupont to throw another guard. You know, sometimes you see a team without hammer throw the stone just off the centre line on purpose, just to make the tick shot just a
bit harder. Yeah,
a little more awkward.
It's interesting how, you know, that 10th end did turn dramatically, because a couple of errors from Italy, you really thought Denmark were in control. And both Rasmuses just tickled if his first one had left his second counter and if his last one. So it's a game of ifs and buts and millimetres.
See if Ferrazza can make another one here. This one's curling a bit more, going to catch a bigger piece and push that red stone into the house and leave a guard. So not as good of a result there on the second one. So at least that adds to the drama. And
the drama? We don't need any more drama. But Italy certainly seem the fired up team right now playing this extra end. Denmark seem very flat.
I think even with three fairly young players on the Danish team, I think they're experienced enough to focus on the task at hand here. Even if they're a bit deflated, they should be able to focus on the task at hand. Two good guards by Oliver Dupont, and now a draw here by Mikkel Pilsen. And that's a beauty right there.
Great shot.
Because that could very well be the stone that Amos Mosaner needs to outdraw. And that's why Italy now thinking about not peeling the guard, but coming after that short stone, feeling this could be the best time to do so. Going in, had a rough 10th end, one flash on a peel, and then chucked the second stone through the house on a freeze. He's wanting to make up for that. Doesn't get to the shot stone, but peels the guard, and obviously the best tolerance.
Definitely. Just with that one on the 1 foot, it was an opportunity to get it off when you could see part of it. So he did remove the guard. Denmark will have to keep placing the guards well now if they want to keep it covered.
Yeah, such a good shot, Stonyard. Really like for it to sit there for the rest of the end, really. If you leave it open until he comes after it, you might not be able to place one as good.
This is a higher guard, though. Just trying to sweep as much as they can onto that centre line. It does expose the stone in the house, but it's a better centre guard.
Exactly that. So if Italy comes after this one now, we'll still have the chance to come around and sit in behind and split the centre line. Going in will come after the shot here on the out turn. Oh, big curl early. I think we're on the guard. So just letting off it to catch a big enough piece to move it open. So going in, not quite able to be the hero he was hoping to be here in the extra after a few mistakes in the 10th. And I'll tell you, that's a tough draw for the win if that stone sits there before the final shot.
There's 3/4 of the 1 foot available.
I know you would make that draw any day, Ronan, but
you think?
For a 22-year-old to play that draw for the Olympic Games, that's quite a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's a really good guard there.
Well, comes pretty tight to the rings. Do have the option of running it back if they wanted to. And that is the call now from the hack from Joel Retornaz, saying might be our chance here. We need to move that rock. Oh, this is close here. Joel Retornaz, 1, 2. Pretty good shot, I have to say.
Great shot, takes it off the 1 foot.
Denmark then having to replace that shot. And Johnny Fredriksson needing to play a draw just as good as Mikkel Pilsen. Good news for Italy, the guard is now a yellow guard. And that's why Rasmus Stjerne thinking, should we just throw the long guard here instead and wait to come around the guard? Maybe
his last stone even, it could be.
Yeah.
They only need that one. No, deciding to go around now.
Yeah, well, of course, to come around and Italy plays their same run back and misses it. They can throw the guard back on. We'll get the clock up. We should be looking at around 14.5. We'll check if the ice has slowed down at all, or if we're still looking at the same speeds.
Plenty of room at the moment.
14-4. You can see the stone running quite nicely. Doesn't fudge at all. Sits very nicely on the tee line, so you can see the ice and the speed is all the same. Not much difference. Good news for Italy, of course. Came a little wide on that draw, so avoiding the centre line a little bit. I don't think it'll be a major problem. Joel Retornaz, a second run back attempt here, trying to run the shot stone off. Can't do it, but rolls the shooter away and still leaves that in-turn draw possible. Skip rocks now. Rasmus Stjerne will put the centre guard on. You can see them wanting to maybe just nibble the centre line here. If they're going to show a piece of this shot stone, they would like to show the outside.
Det er tæt. Og 9. Det er tæt. 4. På 2,5. Gå frem. 3 tæt.
So line, the most important thing here.
Pretty good here, just want to sit. Don't curl anymore. It's pretty good there.
Covered the right side anyway, so. But if they come in and roll to the wing, lie shot, at least Rasmus has got a good guard in place to come round.
These shots are crucial. I mean, you want to play enough weight, so if you tick the guard, you move it far enough. But even with quite a solid weight here, if you're unlucky, you could just end up feathering the guard and leaving both the rocks pretty much in the same place.
Yeah, that'd be the worst case scenario. But he's looking okay. Sweepers can hold it pretty straight down here. But will he roll to lie shot in the wing?
Okay.
Ooh, just red, I think, there now.
Shine shot.
Well, that can be crucial.
That could be.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. No.
It means the next time he hasn't got the luxury of just hitting and running. If he had a second counter, he could do that.
So, one more stone for Denmark.
And it needs to be a good one.
Yeah, so what we're looking for here, just top of the button, fully buried.
Top of the button, so that they can't freeze it, and it makes it very difficult to outdraw. But the more important thing is it's buried.
Plads lige nu, wow! Plads lige nu! Wow! Wow! Plads, wow!
They're happy with the line, it's all about the weight now. Got plenty of room.
It's coming in nicely. How far can they drag it? Where can they put this one? Top button fully buried. That's a good draw right there by Rasmus Stjarne and the whole Danish team. It's just communication all the way down. And I don't think you could place that any better if you picked it up and put it there with your hands.
No, fantastic result. And it's so well buried that they can't come round and play the same shot again.
And it's all down to this. And is this an in-off double? I wonder. It is the up weight. Too tough to outdraw. Amos Mosander says, I'm going to play the in-off double here for my chance and our chance to get to the Olympic Games. 1 and 2 and jams. And the shooter will sit in time until Italy is at the Olympic Games.
Wow.
What a shot by Amos Mosander. Comes off the winger and sits for 1 and the game.
You see what that means to them.
Oh, what a cracking finish to this game. Italy wins at 6-5. Next stop, Pyeongchang.
There was just no delay. He had made his choice. I'm going for the big shot. Rasmus can't believe it. He couldn't have done any more there, Rasmus. Some very happy fans. Denmark will have to pick themselves up after that for another game. But Italy enjoy the moment.
Well, elation for Italy, devastation for Denmark, and you know they're going to think back to that shot in the 10th end that nicked the top stone. It was there for 2, most likely. We're going to take a look at that final shot. Amos Mosander throws the up weight. It comes off the winger. The redstone jams, but look at the shooter. It will stick around back the 8-foot.
What a shot to win.
Oh, speechless. I mean, it's quite something, isn't it? And we have 2 more games like that today. We're going to send 2 more teams to Pyeongchang. It's going to be quite the emotional day for players and fans alike.
Absolutely. And commentators.
Yeah,
it's stressful.
Can barely keep it together. So that is the final score, 6-5, and you know, it was a tight game all the way through, 10 ends, no more than singles and 2s on the board. There's definitely a mistake or 2 here and there all the way through. I mean, that wasn't the highest scoring game we've ever seen, but with the amount of nerves and the incentive in play, it's quite easy to understand. So Italy avoids playing another game. And here's Joel.
Joel, congratulations. You've made it to the Olympic Games. How does that feel?
Oh, it feels great. No words to describe it. I've played the Olympic once in my life, but we were hosting country, and this has such a different taste. Earning the right on the ice, it feels great. It feels like a dream for me.
What were you feeling at that last stone?
You know, those are the stones Amos likes to play. So I couldn't even give him an option. He was like, okay, we play this, and I was okay with that. I saw the line was a bit tight, so we swept it all the way down and made a double. We scored won the extra end. It's great.
And were you slightly concerned in the 10th end?
Pardon?
Were you concerned in the 10th end?
Oh, yeah, a little bit, because we missed a couple of shots, and I had to play a freeze just to, you know, to save the end a little bit, and then we were looking for the force because we knew it was tough to steal, and they had a shot for a double. Was not easy. They take their own stone just a little bit, and yeah, we made it to the extra end, and then we won it.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you very much.
Rasmus, how do you feel?
We're down right now. It was a tight game. Both teams played well. We had our chances. We didn't really capitalize early. I feel my last shot in the 10th end is there. Somehow wrecks the guard. Still gets over there. I'm still confused. Plays a perfect extra and almost makes a wonderful double. Not really much more to say. We have another game and we need to go back, relax, regroup, and then get ready for that last game.
You seem pretty frustrated in the 10th end. What happened there?
Yeah, I feel we were going good, and then they made some good shots, and had my first one just, if that just puts up 2, then he has to be more precise than he is, and then we actually get a shot and just feel like you throw the perfect way, throw the broom, leave it go. It seems perfect all the way, and just on the guard, it's like awful. I think I actually broke my brush there because I was really frustrated. So we're in another game. So
how difficult is it going to be to get yourselves up and perform?
I don't think that's going to be difficult at all. We're here to compete, and we knew it would be tight, and we're a tough team. We can come back from this, and I know we'll be ready this afternoon.
Good luck with that. Thank you.
One versus 2 game in the men's competition. Denmark plays Italy. Denmark is up by 2 as Amos Mosaner in the 4th end, a chance to tie it. Just needs to hit and stick around, which he does. And it's tied after 4. Shaking his head though. A couple of mistakes early on. Still very much in it. Rasmus Stjerne, the last stone here. Just looking for a draw for the single. In the 7th. Just enough for him. the 9th end. Italy with a great chance to score 2. Get back in the lead.
Clean. Yep. Okay.
Nose hit. And Italy 1 up before the 10th end. Denmark off to a good start. In this end, Joel Returnaz with a great freeze on the wing. But in the end, Rasmus Stjerna still has a chance for the double. Throws it perfect, looking good all the way down, but somehow over curls at the very last moment and tickles the top red. Good enough though for the single, but frustration for Rasmus Stjerna. Almost snapping his brush in half, but takes us to the extra end. It's a great draw by Team Denmark. Puts it right in the button. Amos Mozaner very quickly says, we're playing the in-off. That's a great shot, comes off, the red jams, but the shooter stays in the back of the 8-foot, just enough to send Italy to the Olympic Games in Pyeongchang. Final score, 6-5. So that's how it works. Italy now off to Pyeongchang. Denmark will have a second chance. They're going to play the home favourites of Czech Republic this evening here in the Kashutka Arena in Pilsen. And those are the teams now qualified. Host nation Korea alongside Canada, Great Britain, Japan, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland and the United States. 1 spot left in the men's field. Søren Gran comes out to congratulate Mozaner. They've made it. But yes, 2 more games this week. We're going to send 2 more teams to the Olympic Games. Stay tuned for World Curling TV.
Yeah!